What's going on, y'all? Back with another reaction video. Today we got what's wrong with the Broncos, another thinking football video. If you're new to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe. If you want to catch live reactions, going live on Twitch weekly. And yeah, man. So again, like I said, we got thinking football today. What's wrong with the Broncos? Good video topic. Very good video topic. I think something that a lot of people wanted to be addressed. Get out of there. But all right, man. Y'all, let's jump into it, man.
Been mask off, huh? Following an offseason where they finally appeared to have secured the franchise's future, no pun intended, things have gone upside down for the Denver Broncos. After literally 10 consecutive swings and misses at the quarter.
Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, Brock Osweiler, the second time around. Trevor Siemian was the best of the bunch. Case Keenum, Joe Flacco. I forgot Flacco played for the Broncos. Brandon Allen, Jeff Driscoll, Brett Rypien, Drew Lock, Kendall Hinton. He said this one doesn't even count. Really don't, I ain't gonna lie. And then Teddy Bridgewater. Lack of aggression, vertical play. I always kind of looked at Teddy like that. He more of like a safe pick for a quarterback, you know, like a bridge quarterback, you know. But Jeff Driscoll running gadget plays for the Texans. Okay.
Quarterback position.
Said all tools, no game for Paxton Lynch. Paxton Lynch, tall quarterback, had a good arm. It was there.
The Broncos eschewed the draft this time around in favor of a big-time blockbuster trade, pushing in
Hold on, which one? He said game manager past his prime. Oh, Case Keenum.
The chips to grab the disgruntled Russell Wilson from the Seattle Seahawks. Pairing him with Aaron Rodgers' old offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, the Broncos looked to add a spark to an otherwise stellar but underperforming.
That's why it was so much hype. So this was the Packers' old offensive coordinator. Okay, I forgot that. I was wondering. I thought it was just the personnel. I didn't know it was the head coach as well.
Roster. Now, while the defense has genuinely kept up their half of the bargain, the offense has been what can only be described as a complete failure. Second to last in points scored, they haven't just been ineffective at executing, but they're straight up just difficult to watch, stalling, fumbling, and miscuing at every given opportunity. So what exactly has gone wrong? Who's to blame for all this mess? And more importantly, can it be fixed? Broncos country, let's ride and find out.
The rust problem.
Bluntly, and with the biggest issue, Russell Wilson's vision. He's simply not seeing the field clear enough right now. There's routine reads he's been making for years that he's just completely missing. Whether the scheme change is clouding his vision, only Russ could say. But there doesn't seem to be excuses for these misses. Here's a third down you can count on most QBs of Russ's caliber to complete, but he just whiffs it. The Colts are in the cover 6 that we spoke about last week, playing man to the weak side. And the Broncos have a mesh called with a scissor shot to the near sideline. Because this is a split man zone concept, anything crossing the field is liable to break it. To protect deep crossers, the weak side safety immediately gets his eyes across to the far side, looking for threats. Knowing the two to his side are locked in man, even angling his body ready to open up and run. Pausing here, you can see the deep backed off cover 6 and how the mesh is going to leave someone open underneath. And now, it's no longer about coverage, it's just a game of space. The corner vacates the space to chase Sobert, leaving Eskridge to come wide open. And despite looking directly...
He said Eskridge. Who's number 1? It's not Eskridge. I can't think of his name.
Added, Russ chooses the wrong crosser. And despite looking directly at it, Russ leaving Eskridge to come wide open. And despite looking directly...
I feel like he just went with the safe choice, like the guy that's just open. I don't know. I think it was hesitation here because he just saw white jerseys in his peripheral. But yeah, I think he's went with the safe choice. Even though, yeah, he was clearly open. Clearly. It's crazy.
Russ chooses the wrong crosser.
KJ Hamler, there you go.
It's a nice idea to beat the Texans cover 3, but honestly, a poor final result. Off the play action, Sutton will go long to clear out Stingley's deep third, and Judy will run a chair, forcing the linebacker to take him long, creating a mismatch. Now they get the matchup they want, but 57 is in lockstep with Judy, having done an excellent job to carry the double move. This, however, has opened up a big hole in the flat for Russ to exploit, and he's got a clear read on it, but he just forces this one high and wide.
Right there, that made me think of like how DK said, run the ball, big play, pass down the field. Maybe that's just a tendency that Russ is kind of used to, you know, being in that system this whole time. It wasn't like, hey, methodical, consistent, every game we gonna chop you up and be strategic. It was a routine they had, you know. It is heavy run, and then we throw the ball deep, you know. We never really saw the Seahawks get into like chess matches too often with teams. They were just, especially when I don't know. I can't think clearly back, you know, when the Legion of Boom was there, but it was just that they were better than a lot of teams. You know, personnel was better. You know, they had the personnel. Sometimes personnel, the talent can trump the strategic side. You know, if it's just that much better, it's what it is.
And honestly, this one really makes no sense because he misses twice in one play.
I don't know, Cairo. Drink some water.
Again here with the flea flicker throwback. And the Broncos get exactly what they're looking for. An ultra clean pocket for Russ.
Oh, Judy.
And two guys.
So where did he throw this if not Judy?
Two guys running free.
I don't know if he's gonna make he's capable of making this throw. But I mean, this is wide open. It's a good line of scrimmage right here. 20-yard pickup. About 10, 15, you know what I'm saying?
Sutton has got a step on both the corner and the safety. And if you showed this screenshot to anyone who's watched him for the past 10 years, you'd be expecting a bomb to be dropped with pinpoint accuracy near the goal line.
Yeah, but...
And yes, he does still have the arm for this, but Russ turns it down, choosing the crosser instead.
Oh, never mind. I was questioning him. Okay, never mind.
Now, we were willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because there's still yards to be made here. If he hits it flat, Judy's got acres of space to run into. And yeah, it's not a deep bomb, but it's still a huge gain. But then he throws this as a changeup, giving the DB plenty of time to catch up and break up the pass.
It was a little hesitancy on there.
Hesitant.
Yeah, he kind of like, I don't know if his eyes were locked on a Cortland or he was trying to decide, but you got Judy wide open.
Yeah,
you gotta let it rip.
It's not a deep bomb, but it's still a huge gain. But then he throws this as a changeup, giving the DB plenty of time to catch up and break up the pass. Why, Russ? Now, for the fourth down and game, and yes, he absolutely missed this read. With fresh downs available just 1 yard away, the Colts are rightfully in man with everybody up tight defending the line of scrimmage. This is perfect for the Broncos as they've called a slant flat pick play. It's run to near perfection, with Judy clearly demonstrating to the refs he's running a route with a sharp release, while making himself as big of an object as possible.
This was the play I seen on Twitter. Okay.
For the corner. The DBs don't pass off the pick, and
was his read
another sharp route from.
Where was it read? Okay. If his read was to the left side of the field, all this looks covered. I would think to throw it here maybe right now. Everything looked covered if his read is to the left side. To the right side, you know.
Possible for the he's running a route with a sharp release.
Where did he look first? He looked to the left first.
While making himself as big of an object as
possible. Look like he's still looking over there. He didn't. It don't even look like he looked. It doesn't look like he looked to the right at all.
Corner. The DBs don't pass off the pick, and another sharp route from KJ Hamler has him ready to walk in for the score. But for some reason, Russ never even looks at him. He's got his eyes to the backside of the formation and locked onto Courtland Sutton. This was the only place Russ had any interest in throwing the ball, and it's honestly an unacceptable miss from your franchise QB. And while we showed some early scattered misses, this locking on to Courtland Sutton has 100% been an issue.
Courtland Sutton been eating this year, that's for sure too. I ain't gonna lie. I don't watch the full game, so I don't know this stuff, but I did recognize Courtland Sutton been having a pretty solid year.
Particularly around the goal line.
Be getting a lot of targets.
It's bad for QBs when this works out because it breeds bad habits. Here, against the Raiders, you can see it's a similar red zone situation, but the Raiders have two safeties back with a true go-to-goal situation. Russ gets his eyes to Sutton straight from the snap and never looks away. He misses the easy chances for scores on the backside and instead holds on until Sutton clears both safety windows. If the protection doesn't hold up, this is a clear miss. Now, it wasn't just the Colts game, it's cost them plenty of chances to score. His eyes never checked the back or Judy to the far side.
Could be familiarity with that too. You know, Cortland wear the same number as DK, both big receivers. Supporting cast of speed receivers. You know, I mean, it could be reading a little deep into it, but again, like he was just in the offense where, you know, had a big receiver, could just throw it up to him. He can make them contested catches. And Cortland is that type of receiver, you know, to some extent. So
they are on Sutton the entire time. And this is
but he had Tyler Lockett too. I don't know.
Going to him whether he was open or not. And here it is again against the Texans. Russ first quickly checks where the safety is, but after, it's immediately to Sutton and tracking him all the way across the field. It's cover 4 in a condensed area, so the chances of this gaining any sort of leverage is unlikely. So Russ needs to be looking for someone settling in a soft spot in the zone. Javonte Williams has done just that, but Russ is way too late to see it, and this gets batted down at the line.
That's what it's been in some of these throws. You know, the one earlier to Judy was like hesitancy. You know, hesitance.
Force to Sutton has been a big problem, but fixing this alone won't solve the offense because Russ is missing straight layups. Driving late against the Seahawks, the Broncos had themselves backed up after a stuffed screen and it's 3rd and long after an incompletion. Knowing that they have 2 plays, they call a shallow cross to Judy, who will run into open grass with 2 clear-out routes against the prevent. He is wide the fuck open, but for some reason, Russ checks this down to his back. He is wide the to open grass with 2 clear-out routes against the prevent. He is wide the fuck open, but for some reason...
What made him do that? Could he not see? Like, is that valid to say? Like, you know, because Russ is a shorter quarterback. Is that? And that's a genuine question. I don't know. I'm just curious because it looked like he was looking in that direction, and then it just looked like he just turned his head. That's wild. I don't know. His Madden rating dropped to 80. You for real? That's wild. Say Gilly Wash. No, I don't think Gilly Wash. I think Gilly's still good. He used to DK carrying him. Nah, Tyler Lockett was nice too. I ain't gonna lie. Tyler would be clutch, extremely clutch. So I don't know.
Checks this down to his back. And shout out Javonte for getting anything on this. But if he just hit Judy on...
I think it's just him being used to being in that system he grew in. It was catered to him. So everything worked, you know, worked around him and worked for him. But he 10 years in and just switched to a new system, you know.
The crosser, they definitely get more yards, a potential first down, and you would have been able to run out of bounds to stop the clock too. The only thing that made this worse was what followed. Now, it's hard being on the big stage, and there's no certainty that they would have picked up the 4th and 5. But everybody watching knew your odds were higher with Russell Wilson going for it. So did Hackett, initially leaving out the offense before calling a timeout late with the clock running down. And that's where the problem starts. 4th and 5 from midfield with 3 timeouts left under a minute, that's an automatic timeout call. Instead of rolling the offense back out, Hackett sent Brandon McManus out to try a 64-yarder. Of course, the football gods repaid his foolishness with a miss. Clearly in his own head about the situation, Hackett then backed away from a long field goal the following week despite it being 5 yards shorter on home turf and in the easiest stadium in the league to kick. Yes, it was earlier in the game and after a penalty, but if you trust the kicker's leg from 64 in Seattle, 59 to make the scores even, especially at Mile High, feels like good odds. And this erratic decision-making is what the Broncos offense has felt like all year long. Yes, there's some nice plays here and there, And yes, Russ has missed some that they've teed up, but when it gets to the crucial downs, they just don't seem to have it. Between the 20s, the ball has moved like an average to below average offense, but when they get in the red zone, they can't do anything.
You know, it's kind of funny, Packers lose their offensive coordinator and Devontae Adams, and their offense is not doing that good this year. So was it the combination of Hackett and Adams, or was it just Adams, Because they even changed head coaches and they still did good. Like, who did they have? They had Mike McCarthy. They weren't terrible with Mike McCarthy, but they fired him and then brought in the head coach they got now, LaFleur, and then won like 13 games his first year. And, Devontae was there, So I wonder, just wondering who was more important, the offensive coordinator or Devontae Adams.
The run seems to get going at times, but as soon as the area gets condensed, they lose all ability. They get blown off the ball in short yardage, and their outside game is shut off by the reduced space. Fumbles certainly don't help, but they just feel very unimaginative around the goal line. Russ has only been used in a read once, and it was a score. They seem unable to create misdirection around the goal line, and are especially poor when teams pack it with zones. Penalties and lack of a run game up close consistently puts them in these tricky goal and long scenarios where it's easy for the defense to back off and clog the end zone, forcing pinpoint throws to even create a chance of a score. And it's not just the red zone. There's some suspect as hell calls on third down too. Barely half a yard needed on this one, and they call a speed option with your tight end? Okay then. Now, there's plenty of blame still left to go around, so let's touch on two key issues that we haven't yet addressed. Firstly, there's been protection issues. Russ bailing and freelancing has been a problem for his entire career, so we aren't going to criticize him for that here. That feels a bit like complaining that the sky is too blue. However, we will criticize him for failing to set protections. He's missed a number of DB blitzes this season, and it seems like defensive coordinators have caught on and been stealing from each other. His old coach was always going to have something for him, and he got him here with the late creep-up blitz. The protection will turn towards the backers. Jamal Adams jumps the empty gap, giving Russ no chance at all. And here it is again versus the Colts. It looks like a straight man, but 26 will come on the blitz with the backer replacing him to take the first inside man. Russ only spots him when he's less than a yard away, somehow ducking out of the initial rush, only to be swallowed up.
Did we see Russ do that much in Seattle? Like, change the protection at the line? I don't know. I don't recall that with him. I see it. There's a few quarterbacks I see do that. I could think off top for sure. Pat Mahomes. Some veterans too, of course, like Tom, Matt Ryan. But I mean, like I said, I'm not a Seahawks fan, and it's not like I watch all their games in full, so it's not like I vividly recognize him doing that. And again, if it's this deep in his career, and that's an expectation of him, it's like it's something he'd have to learn. I don't know.
By the rest of the line. But it's not all Russ's fault. The right side of the line has been extremely poor, and even when he sets the protection correctly, they've had big issues with stunts and twists. Here, Russ correctly calls the slide right, making sure everyone is accounted for. But center Lloyd Cushenberry kicks down on the D tackle instead of waiting for the wrap from the backer Russ pointed out. They've had big issues with stunts and twists. Here, Russ correctly calls the slide right, making sure everyone is accounted for.
Slide right, so right would be our left.
But center Lloyd Cushenberry.
Oh, he went all in. Oh man, yeah, he went patient.
Kicks down on the D tackle instead of waiting for the wrap from the backer Russ pointed out. Lastly, and something that is making the offense particularly difficult to watch, has been the number of drops from the receivers. With your quarterback struggling with reads and forced balls, you cannot afford to
Didn't Broncos have problems with drops last year?
Drop this many wide open
if I'm not mistaken.
And particular blame to Judy here. It honestly wouldn't shock me if there was a bit of a confidence issue between the two. Now, can this be fixed? Yes, but it's going to take some time.
Oh my,
and we're
that was a
not
good
sure
catch.
that they're gonna
Oh,
have
that was a
enough
pick.
this season. Now, there are some good signs in this offense. Between the 20s, they do a nice job running the ball. And when in a 3-step drop in the quick game, Russ still looks like his old self. And his arm and deep ball prevalence always provides that home run shot. However, Wilson has got to get through his progressions cleaner on 5 to 7 steps because it's simply not good enough for a premier QB. He's literally costing his team games. That said, the coaching staff have got to do a much better job too. They've got to self-scout better and know what is and isn't working. If Russ is going to stare down your wide receiver 1, you might want to put him in the freaking pattern. And they've got to find a way to run the ball when they get in short yardage, most likely by including Russ's legs more, or you can kiss goodbye to.
It's crazy. They is stacked to the left side of the line.
Any ball in
Oh, they had this gap filled too. That was a good defensive play call.
January. They've put themselves behind the 8 ball with 3 bad losses. However, this middle section of the schedule opens up after a tough division game, but they aren't spared for long with honestly one of the hardest 6-game closeouts that you're going to see. Even if the Broncos can rally, the early season woes may see them fall a yard short. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, why not check out our breakdown on the 49ers defense, or how Jalen Hurts has taken his game to the next level.
Good vid. It's just there's a lot to see. A lot to think. Like what's gonna happen? Are they gonna change anything with the Broncos? I feel like it's a lot to fix right now. Like all the stuff that he listed, I feel like it's a lot to just fix and just get all that right this year by the end of the season. Play calling, blocking, adjustments by Russ, his hesitation, drops, I feel like it might not be till next year where we see them be that team that we expected them to be this season. So we'll see. Hopefully they do clean it up. They have the personnel, they got the talent, but like I said, we'll see. Y'all hit the like button for me. Also subscribe, drop a comment down below. If you want to catch live reactions, hit the link in the description. Stay tuned, stay blessed.